Thanks, Seth. And can I borrow the microphone? Thanks. I enjoy kind of walking around, if that's okay. So, thanks, Seth, and thanks, of course, to Chuck for having me here this weekend, and to all the other people working at the AAA. You know, I had to get Chuck to prove that he's not secretly Kevin Spacey. Evidence, Chuck. Where's the proof? So I'm going to talk today about 3 things you can do to grow the secular community by 10 times. Wow! What a ridiculous claim. Who is this guy on the stage? Why is he qualified to talk about this? Show me the evidence, John. Well, I know a lot about bootstrapping because I've been an entrepreneur. This is me at Brown University, filling my advisor's office with balloons to the top in an attempt to avoid doing real work. This is me raising money for a company. It's not actually me. I was hit by a car. As a result of the accident, I got a small amount of seed money that I put into building this. I'm also an atheist. As we all know, that can be difficult at times. I had a girlfriend, I've never actually mentioned this before in public, but I had a girlfriend who was a lesbian, but she made an exception for me. But she couldn't make an exception for the fact that I didn't believe in God. So things were going great, but at the end she had to let go. And I was so bummed by this that I kind of stopped doing everything and threw my life into a redonkulous project called Soulburners. And the idea is that people write me a question on a colored card. I turn the cards over and I write answers, like an advice column. Except that in an advice column, they usually shy away from talking about God. But I wouldn't shy away. If you want to talk about God or the universe, sure, I'll go ahead and do that. And I got more than 12,000 questions and answered most of them by hand. Ended up becoming homeless, falling from the wheel, and breaking my arm. So, the question today is, what are the 3 things you can do to grow the secular movement? Well, let's talk about where we are. As you know from Becky's speech and Edwina's speech, we could be potentially a 5th of the nation, maybe more if you count all the Catholics who are Catholics by name only. Even those who call themselves outright atheists, you know, not a non-believer, not a wishy-washy, I'm definitely an atheist, is 2%. It's bigger than the Jewish community, bigger than the Mormon community. So, we must have lots of power in society, right? You would think so. But unfortunately, we're actually at the bottom of the prejudice list. Would you vote for a president who was an atheist? Maybe not. Well, I would. Jefferson would. Well, this is the Mormons' largest auditorium, the LDS auditorium in Salt Lake City. It seats 21,000 people, and that's just their leaders. This is a football stadium, I think it's in New York, which is celebrating the Jewish Talmud. These are all Talmudic scholars. And the reason why it looks so dark is because they're all wearing the black suit with the hat and the braids. So that's, I think, 90,000 people. So, what's it going to take? 1/3 of all giving in the U.S. is religious giving. So up to $300 billion, about 1/3 of that goes to religions. And if you measure by disposable income, which means after rent, after food, the income that you kind of have, spare change left over, about 1% is given unless you're a religion, in which case it's more like 5%. So, go religions. Meanwhile, in the secular community, meanwhile in the Batcave, we're kind of getting squeezed, right? That's not good. Why is there so much pressure? Why are our meetings not held in small venues like maybe this one, but instead, let's have like some big meetings. Wouldn't it be nice if you could grow the secular movement by 10, 20 times? Have these giant outdoor parties where everyone wants to be there. All the celebrities want to be there. You get on TV or music. Yeah, we're growing the secular movement. Oh yeah. Enough of that. So, I'm going to tell you a little story with the help of two volunteers, Phoenix, which is the most awesome name ever, and Megan. Come on up. This is a little story about bodybuilding. It's a metaphor. All right. I'm going to do about 8 seconds of setup here. 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay, so we have an undecided person. We have a scrawny beach guy. And we have religion, the bully. And this story takes place on a beach. And I'm going to use 2 microphones. Is this working? Oh, it's not. Okay, good. We'll use 1 microphone.
You switched it on?
Switched on? Okay, great. Here we go. Here we go.
It works now.
It works now. Okay, so this story starts at the beach.
Hey, quit kicking sand in our faces and stop using religion to ostracize atheists and pass laws that impose your group's views on the rest of us.
The secular movement doesn't have big, pretty buildings like the Vatican. There must be a God.
Listen here, I'd smash your face. Only you're so skinny, you might blow away.
That big bully, I'll get it even someday.
Your secular movement is small. When a lot of people believe in God, it must be true.
Darn it, I'm sick and tired of being a scarecrow. Humans make emotional decisions. This book about science isn't enough. I need to start working out so people take me seriously. Boy, it didn't take long to build muscles. That bully won't shove me around again. Hey bully, read this book on causation and the logical impossibility of divine cause.
I apologize for my mistake. God does not exist, and my fear of death seduced me into glorifying blind faith instead of support evidence-based reasoning. This has led me to mistreat others in a way antithetical to freedom.
Oh, secular movement, you are so brave and strong. I'll never worship God again.
Thank you. Let's applause, please. Thank you. So the idea is that all the shrimp had to do was work out a little bit. And I think in a simple way, you know, it used to be that we're kind of oppressed people, and we of course still are. And I don't mean to dismiss that in any way. But we're less oppressed. That's good. And I think there's room for some bodybuilding. So I promised you 3 things that you could do to grow the secular movement by 10 times. I made up the 10 times, but it's going to be a lot, is what I'm saying. So here they are. Number 1. There's a feeling in the community that we're in battle, that we're being set upon. And I prefer that we felt more empowered. And by empowered, I meant just willing to take more risks, planning for the future as though assuming that we might double in size in a couple of years. Why not? Let's take some more risks, let's invest more in the future. Also, our community is really strained on resources. We have so many great volunteers who've done so many things, and we just take what we can get sometimes. You know, sometimes amateur is good enough. But you know what? When it comes to attracting new people to our movement, they don't care that we're volunteers, they don't care how little money we have or whatever, they just see that sometimes our websites don't meet the certain standards that they would like to see. So having some professional aspirations, whether we can fund them or not, at least having those aspirations, I think, is an attitude change. Number 3, we are a bit guarded about working with other groups because these members are my members. They're giving me money. Don't take members from me. I prefer to be more unified on issues that we share. Not on all issues, but just on the issues that we share. Let's unify on those, while of course maintaining our independence and diversity. And getting together can be fun. But it's so much more fun to fight, isn't it? Yes, let's fight each other. Not the theists. Okay, let's talk about how much fun it is to fight. And I'm going to talk you out of it. Here's some shopping psychology. I have an MBA, so I'm chock full of business metaphors. Let's say that you found a good shoe. A good shoe's worth some money. I've never worn high heels, but I bet I look great in them. But if you find the perfect shoe, that is worth a lot of money. Boy, the perfect shoe. And that's why if you go to a tiny shoe store, you might spend some money. But if you go to a mall, you will find the perfect shoe and you will spend a lot more money. Why is it that Sears and Macy's agreed to be in the same space? Shouldn't they throw up fences like the secular community often throws up fences to one another's members? Well, they don't throw up fences because they know that by working together and by cross-pollinating, they can actually draw in more money. Because each person who goes to the mall will find something that's kind of more them, worth more money, the perfect shoe, so to speak, or in this metaphor, the perfect secular project fund. And to put it on a chart, because we're seculars, we enjoy charts, on the chart of how much do you give versus how much campaign diversity do you have, a little bit versus a lot. I found the perfect inspiration. So the fact that malls exist in the business world may help provide some evidence for the claim that secularists should not be afraid, in fact should embrace cross-pollination and helping one another out. We're trying to fund this and fuel it with a project called Secular Connect. It's being run by the Richard Dawkins Foundation and the Lewis Charitable Foundation, and of course with help from the SCA as well. The project basically has three components. The first is an IT team. It's an actual team of people who will be able to go to your organization if you invite them in and help you improve your website or your social media or your online services. Just going to try to help organizations that maybe lack resources get their website house in order. Won't fix printers though. Don't wash windows. Also coaching. No indoctrination, I promise. This is all opt-in. But if your team is maybe wondering, how do I run a protest? How do I do outreach to women and minorities? How do I write a press release? We can help you with that. And I know there are other groups that do this, and we'd love to work with you because that means that we spend less money. So yes, we're going to partner with you. Great. And then finally, the website. And whenever I say website, people kind of look at me strangely. So I'm going to jump right into what it's not. What it's not is Facebook. It's not a place to go to post stuff on a wall. It's not a place where we're going to sign up members. We're not competing with you. Instead, it's more like Google. You're going to search for things, and then the website will find a listing and put you right into your website, your secular group's website. So it's basically a portal, a throughway. People come there to find listings, and then they'll go away from the site to you. It's going to include a group directory. We already have 1,800 secular groups just in North America, and then we haven't even started to include skeptics and Unitarians, of course, some of whom are friends, some of whom are not friends, but yeah, they're all basically friends. An event calendar. We have an amazing doubly patented technology I heard some really smart guy invented, who it can collect events directly from the websites of secular groups. This means no data entry. Don't you hate having to type in your event on like 6 or 7 calendars? Our calendar, no data entry. Real easy to use. In fact, you can customize and save your own search. For example, maybe you like skeptic parenting events in Florida. So you build that search, you save it, and then you turn it into a custom widget that can be plugged into your website. Here, for example, is a James Randi website, which I just cut a hole into. Boop, I just plugged in my calendar. Thanks, Secular Connect. The calendar comes in a big size, but if you haven't got a big size room in your website, it comes in a sidebar. If you haven't got sidebar size, it comes in an input bar, and that can get scarier if you don't have that much room. Version 1 of the system is coming out for a private beta in about a month. That means that you can't see it yet unless you sign up for it, but there's a sign-up list right in the lobby. And the real system should be coming out end of the year or so, we'll see. Depends how many features we're going to stuff in. But the core stuff is pretty much ready to go. Soon. RSM, real soon now. That's IT speak for, I have no idea, but it's coming soon. Volunteer matchmaking is part of version 2. So if you've got an opportunity, by which you mean, I want some free labor, but I'm going to call it an opportunity, you can plug that into the website, and then volunteers can sign up, and we're going to help you kind of match people. In addition, if you run a national group, we can help you manage local chapters. So, for example, If your secular leader graduates and leaves the group, it's a college group, you can find out which groups are active, which are inactive, which leaders have changed. You can put events into your group's calendar, kind of like how McDonald's has franchises, and if they're running a burger promotion, all their franchises get the burger promotion. In a similar way, you'll be able to take your national promotions and events and kind of insert them into your chapter's websites. I worked a couple of years ago on the film The Ledge, Matthew Chapman's movie, which is arguably the first movie beyond contact that has an atheist at its core and atheist themes. The first Hollywood film movie. And it took me about 2 months to reach out to the secular community because first I had to find who they were, then I had to reach out to all of them, and then I had to kind of keep at it. And it's a lot of work to do promotions in the secular community, as you have, I'm sure, experienced. So as part of the system, once we have a group directory and a group calendar, we're going to encourage secular leaders to take ownership of their own listing and to categorize what kind of leader they are. So if you're a website admin, you'll be a secular leader of type website admin, or press contact, or sponsor contact, or what have you. And not on a spam basis, I promise, but on an opt-in basis, you'll be able to receive promotions based on certain keywords. So if you care about, say, skeptic promotions in Florida, you might sign up for that. And then down the left, type in a promotion like, we're raising money for a Florida-based charity, and it's all about cancer and secular values. And then the Secular Connect ape, which by the way has no name yet, but she is a she, and I'm looking forward to getting your ideas about naming. This is an orangutan. Forwards the promotion to people who have subscribed to that kind of search. And of course, a newswire can work in the same way. It's sort of the same thing. Just basically, data comes to you on an opt-in basis based on, more than 200 secular keywords. There's quite a bit of specificity, which means more stuff you care about, less stuff you don't. So I haven't had time to show you a whole bunch of mock-ups, but I am walking around the demo at this conference, so you can perhaps catch me there. I'll show you just maybe a couple. Secular Connect helps to drive outsiders to you. It helps to activate current members. Buy now before midnight tonight. It helps you fundraise and promote, brings you volunteers, and it helps groups that want IT support and operations coaching. So, what do we need from you? Well, right now, kind of nothing, but I'd love to have your feedback, because there's no point building a system that you won't use. So if you do sign up for a demo, and we're going to be able to give demos privately today, or demos that you kind of play with by yourself in maybe a month or so, private beta, I'd love to hear you say, oh, but you don't call it free thinkers with a hyphen, it's free thinkers with space or no space, or you have to add in a field that lets us categorize people as the grand poobah, or whatever it is that you want to do. We're going to do our best to please you. In other words, I'm your monkey. Obviously, when it comes out, love to have your help promoting the system, using the system. If you've got a website and you're looking for a community calendar, you can plug our calendar right into your website. And of course, those 3 things I mentioned, the 3 things to change a secular community. I hope that you'll work with us to set our goals higher, work more together, and up our professionalism. Just a bit. And if we can get all that into place, we'll make it to that party. Thanks very much.
One, maybe 2 quick questions.
Oh, it's not on.
We have time for 1 or maybe 2 quick questions.
Good, I have 1 or 2.
Great.
First of all, I want to do everything that you want to do for the same reasons, because we need more political activism. But when you're talking about these little widgets, one of the things that you mentioned in there was like an atheist dating thing, right? And I don't know if you...
No, there's no atheist dating thing, I'm sorry. I must have misspoken.
Okay, well what I wanted to see...
There's a matchmaking system for volunteers.
What I wanted to see is it's so annoying when you see our secular pages on the web and that is a Christian dating site. I want to see atheist dating sites.
Yeah.
Give me some
Okay, well,
natures.
You build it and we'll be happy to partner with you.
I'll do it.
Some other time.
Tonight. We'll have an atheist one tonight. 2 hours.
Hey, I wanted to just say it sounds excellent. It's really exciting. You said, though, it's all American groups so far. But you did mention initially that it's going to be an international thing because we really need it as well. So add us right away. Don't wait.
Excellent question. Well, we have already gotten you in mind in a couple of ways. First of all, I can do a search not just by city. If I say, for example, I search Boston, then I get a radius search around Boston. But let's say that I'm passing a law or I'm fighting a protest that's state-based, like Texas. I can do a search and find all the groups or all the events just in Texas. Also, events and groups can not just be local, but they can be state-sized or country-sized. So if I want to do a search for all the national groups or national-level conferences, I can do that. Also, internationally, we have actually gathered a list of several thousand international groups. We just haven't done all the research to kind of validate them, verify them, do some manual labor typing them in. That is coming, though. And the system is already built in with an internationalization so that every time the system says anything, those words can be translated into a foreign language. So that system's already in place. We hope, of course, to elicit volunteers. So perhaps I'll get back to you about that for translations.
So, while I love the orangutan, if you're herding cats, you need a kitten with Texas Longhorns.
I want your ideas on naming the orangutan. And I would love it to be a female because there are just so many damn male mascots already.
I think she should be named Connie for Connect.
Ooh.